Alright folks, welcome back. Plan for today, I'm going to be doing a 1-year review on the 13 Fishing Black Betty FreeFall. I've had this for just about a year and I've used it quite a bit over the past 2 seasons, and I'm just going to do a 1-year review on it. I'm going to talk about some basic specs. I'm going to talk about how I use it and what I think about it, and if I think it's worth, roughly the 110 they ask for it. Alright, so let's get into the basics of the reel. As you can see, this is an inline reel. It's not your traditional spinning. I've pretty much completely converted to the inlines, and so far, I'm really pleased with them. So the basics of this reel, this thing is a 2.5 to 1 gear ratio, and per turn of the handle, you pick up about 19 inches of line. So with one crank of the handle, you can see how much you pick up per one crank, which is pretty generous in my opinion. So one crank of the handle is about there. They advertise it as about 19 inches. And these clock in around 6.6 ounces, 6.5 on my scale. They advertise it as 6.6. And we're going to start on this side here. You have a CNC machined aluminum handle. You have a CNC machined star drag. And on the aluminum handle here, you have these oversized EVA knobs, which I love. These things are really comfortable. I like that they're oversized. So if you're fishing with gloves and you go to grab for your handle, you can pick up one of these really easy, even with gloves on. These oversized knobs are really handy. I like that they put them on this reel. All right, now we're moving on to the engagement lever. It's this lever here. In order to drop your jig, you depress this lever and your jig drops instantly. When you want to stop your jig, you let off. So in to drop, let off to stop. If I'm fishing in a shack and I don't have gloves on, I feel like this is really handy. The only thing I found with this is if I have gloves on and I'm not fishing in a shack, if I need to cut weight and I don't have a shack and I'm fishing with gloves on because it's cold, sometimes I find I hit this by accident with my glove and release my jig when I don't want to. So moving on, this is also a CNC machine spool, which is really durable, really light. Everything's nice and tight in here. There's no wobble, there's no clicking around. This is just a really stable reel. And one thing about this reel is it does not have a bait clicker like 2 of their other inline reels do. This is the 13 Fishing Descent. This is the bait clicker. So if you want to dead stick this, you get a little bit of a noise if you're dead sticking this and a fish takes off with it. So I'd say that's one downfall with a FreeFall, is that they don't have a dead stick feature. Not that I personally really use it that much, but I know a lot of people do. If you're fishing in a shack and you want to have a dead stick rod, it's nice to have a clicker. And real quick before I put this away, I'm going to be doing a quick review on this too. Once I finish the FreeFall video, I'm going to be making a review video on this Descent. So if you guys are interested in checking that out, you guys can find that on my channel. So that's pretty much the basics on this reel, guys. The only thing I haven't mentioned is that this thing has 4 stainless steel ball bearings and a carbon drag system, which is a really quality drag system. So what I'm going to talk about now is how I use this rod. I use this for crappie, perch. I've caught some bass on this. I've kind of indirectly caught some northern pike. I normally don't target northern pike on a jig rod, but I have caught a few jigging for perch, and this reel handles them pike fine. The biggest pike I've caught on this is probably 5 pounds, 6 pounds. But so far this handles the bass, and them smaller range northern pike fine. And one other thing that I get asked a bunch is if this has a clickable drag system like on your spinning rod. This does not. I'm not talking about the dead stick bait alarm like I showed you on the Descent. I'm talking about when you loosen your drag and you're fighting a fish, if that fish is taking out drag, does it click? These do not. That is something I don't like about the inline ice reels. I really miss that compared to the spinning reels. I hope in years to come that they add something like that on these inline ice reels. If they're able to add that on an inline ice reel, I think these things are going to be hard to beat. So my experience with this, guys, is I haven't had one problem outside of, like I said, using gloves. If I have heavy thick gloves, sometimes if I grab my rod, I'll bump this by accident. But that's just something to keep in mind. If you have big heavy gloves on and you're fishing outside like I do sometimes, you just got to be careful that you don't bump this. But that's basically it, guys. Do I feel like it's worth $100, $110, $120 that most people ask for these? Absolutely. I feel like these are a real quality reel. I feel like you can use these under a broad spectrum of conditions, fish species, and I think it'll handle them just fine. But we're going to wrap it up there, guys. If you guys are looking at the FreeFall, it's a thumbs up from me. If you guys have a FreeFall and you want to leave some feedback in the comments, feel free to. And we're going to sign off, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.